think that's
Yeah.
really accurate. One thing I find interesting is I recently saw somebody create an article about AI and how problem with a lot of AI is, of course, it's written by men, you know, most times white men, and their bias comes out. So when you're dealing with this technology like AI, even blockchain, all these technologies that are written by a specific sector of the market, they add their own bias into that, and then it doesn't really benefit everybody. So it's not an inclusive process. And the only way to have something that's inclusive, which is what we're always aiming to do, is to include everybody. And I think this is essential to have women involved in blockchain technology, AI technology, all technology. It's really, really, really important for society. And I think what you said is so, so important is that women play this very important role in the family. And it is the educator of the children very often in things like financial education that they're not getting from school. So the mother, plays that role, and she needs to be empowered to do that. So it's a really, really important thing to get women involved in this industry, technology.
Yeah, actually, the empowerment is very important because most of them, they still are ignorant about how powerful they can become, and yes, how powerful their children could be out of being taught about financial literacy and actually building for the coming years of economic growth in a country. So sometimes I had actually some of the mothers coming to me and asking me about NFTs or Bitcoin or Ethereum because their children, their boy, started something, and he's like 14, 15 years old, and he started something and he's asking his mom to give him money just to invest in
Yeah.
cryptocurrency. But how could she give him money, all right, if she doesn't understand what is it about? I mean, she wouldn't trust where her boy is putting his money. Empowerment is important, education, and crossing the fear of dealing with money on my phone,
Yeah, no, sure.
that's not that that's actually a weak point throughout the women that I have been engaged with. So we have to focus on that weakness and um, make it a strong point for her family and for her children and for her environment.
Yeah. Do you think women in Lebanon, for example, um, especially like an older generation, uh, are used to just handling cash? And for them, pulling out the money, I'm just like, always see like mama grab it out of her bra and like pull out the cash and, do what she needs to do. She understands that. But the idea that this is on a phone is just like, it's just confusing. Like it doesn't make sense. Like what is this? It's the physicality of it, I think, that people
Yeah, yeah,
don't like.
yeah, yeah. I have seen that, and not only with older people. I have seen that in most of the communities, or even students and young people who are just getting the knowledge, who have just started to know what is cryptocurrency or digital cash, how can I deal with it. So yeah, they have the fear of not touching or the non-tangible thing in their hand, which is actually money. So I think this goes back to trust. If I trust the application that I'm using, like for example, the older woman, of course, most of them, they use Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp.
Hmm.
So they trust what they are saying to their children. I mean, what they are writing on the application, their name, their birth date, their location. And most of them don't know how to change the settings. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when they use WhatsApp, they send some pictures, or I don't know, what do they say, secrets to their children on WhatsApp. So how could you trust an application that you don't know who will be listening or even seeing what you're writing or sending on that, although it says it's encrypted, but it's centralized after all. So
Yeah.
how could they trust the data that they are transferring? Okay, and not trust the transaction of money. So
Sure. I mean, you're so right there. It's like that's
that's
such
easy.
an interesting point that,
Mm.
that you can trust WhatsApp without even understanding anything about it, but you don't trust digital currency.
Yeah, and they put passwords on their phone, and even passwords on to lock their WhatsApp, so anyone from their children or husband will not come and see what they wrote. And
Yeah,
even they delete some things,
yeah,
it's like you're sitting with your first child and you're just
yeah.
discussing or chatting about some secrets about the second one. So this is
Yeah.
how they do it. But I think that the way you introduce such applications, for example, Empowch, that's the difference. Because Facebook was introduced to them without just knowing that Mark Zuckerberg is there, that he has a server, that they will look into the algorithms and will send you
Yeah.
marketing material, and they still don't know about that. They see something that they have been talking about with their neighbor, and it's normal. Oh, okay, great. All right. So I think that the way we can approach these people should be different from the way we are approaching, for example, students.
Mm.
And the trust that I hold and you hold will be transferred from you to your mother, and from me to my mother, and to her neighbors.
Mm.
I trust X person. Okay,
Sure.
I will use this thing. But they in our environment, and there's something that when I'm sitting with my family members or the very close ones that I got raised up with, and even my aunts or my neighbors, the older women, they can't strongly believe that I created an application, for example,
Mm.
or I'm promoting an application that is created by someone who I know and it's used globally.
Mm.
You have to convince them that Facebook is not from outer space, and Mark is not coming from I don't know which planet, and he's just introducing you
Yeah.
to Facebook where you can see people posting. No, it's like it comes from the need. So they need such applications, all right?
Yeah.
For social interactions. And you need applications to save your money. You need applications to have more access to money and transactions. So I think this is the way that that would be put into context so that they understand. And it's like contradicting, because if they trust me, they will download the wallet just because they trust me and they know me.
Mm.
But they won't be like strongly believing in the wallet, because I mean, our daughter is someone that we know. How
Yeah, no,
can
sure.
she do
No,
that,
sure. It's